Olá! Apresentamos o espetáculo I, Woman, produzido pelo grupo de teatro Literarte, Literatura e Arte, formado por professores e estudantes de letras língua inglesa do Centro de Formação de Professores da Universidade Federal do Recôncavo da Bahia. O Literarte é fruto de um projeto de extensão criado pela professora mestre Conceição Torres em agosto de 2020 e visa a familiarização de estudantes de graduação e professores da rede pública de ensino com as literaturas de língua inglesa e o seu entrelace com atividades teatrais. Nesta edição, o Literarte conta com um elenco formado por 5 estudantes diversos em gênero, idade, etnia e nível de proficiência em língua inglesa. Em seu debut artístico, o grupo apresenta uma bricolagem de diferentes narrativas autoetnográficas fictícias, inspiradas em mulheres de diferentes contextos e épocas. Essas personagens foram escolhidas a partir de 5 obras literárias relevantes, produzidas originalmente em inglês, das quais os participantes se apropriaram para produzir o texto final sobre o qual este espetáculo se sustenta. Dentre as obras trabalhadas estão The Prologue and The Wife of Bath's Tale, ambas de autoria do escritor inglês Geoffrey Chaucer, Romeo and Juliet, do autor inglês William Shakespeare, The Color Purple, da autora estadunidense Alice Walker, and The Handmaid's Tale, da autora canadense Margaret Atwood. As obras originais foram selecionadas pela professora doutora Débora da Rosa, consultora do Literarte para a área de literatura. O trabalho de preparação linguística foi realizado pelo professor mestre Diogo Oliveira, consultor do projeto para a área de pronúncia. Gostaríamos de salientar que os participantes lançaram mão de sua experiência linguística e acadêmica e de recursos próprios para compor as personagens. Sendo assim, o mise-en-scène, cenários, figurinos e maquiagens são produtos da criatividade de cada ator. Convidamos-lhes, portanto, a assistir I, Woman, Eu, Mulher, sobre as narrativas autoetnográficas dessas mulheres em um diálogo fictício com a escritora Virginia Woolf, aqui encenada por Gabriele Lima. Dando vida à mulher de Bath, inspirada nos contos de Canterbury, apresentamos Wesley Evangelista. Milene Silva nos traz a doce Julieta, inspirada em Romeu e Julieta. Marlos Gabriel nos presenteia com Cilly, inspirada em A Cor Púrpura. E Johnny Almeida, da vida Offred, inspirada em O Conto da Aia. Desejamos a todos e todas uma ótima experiência.
I ain't got no home, ain't got no shoes, ain't got no money, ain't got no class, ain't got no skirts, ain't got no sweater, ain't got no perfume, ain't got no bed, ain't got no mind, ain't got no mother, ain't got no culture, ain't got no friends, ain't got no schooling, ain't got no love, ain't got no name, ain't got no ticket, ain't got no token, ain't got no God.
Women are certainly the animal which is most discussed in the whole universe. Do you doubt it? Have a look at how many books are about them, telling how they were, how they used to dress, how they used to behave. It's all written minutely. However, it's always from a man's point of view. But what is women really as described? If women only existed in fiction written by men, we would imagine them as a people worthily qualified, heroic and distinguished, admirable and sordid, unfortunately guilty and ghastly. To some, they are as much great as a man or even greater. In fact, as a wiser professor points out, women were locked, beaten, and kept in their room. As for the imagination, women occupy the highest social position in a kingdom, but in fact, they are totally useless. In fiction, they dominate kings and conquerors, but in real life, they are slaves of any little man whom their parents forced them to accept as a husband. Some of the most inspiring words and some of the most thinkable thoughts come out from the lips in literature. Actually, they do not even know what they are saying because they are subdued to their husbands. I can still remember the time I met these women. So different from each other, such different minds, such different histories. What was their name again?
Birds flying high, you know how I feel. Sun in the sky, you know how I feel. Breeze drifting on by, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day. It's a new life for me, yeah. It's a new dawn, it's a new day. It's a new life for me. Ooh, 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 ooh. And I'm feeling good.
Under his eyes. My name is Alfred. I have been called by another name before, but now it is lost.
Someone once told me that you have to choose what you win or lose. You can't have everything. Don't you take chances, you might feel pain. Don't you love in vain, 'cause love won't set you free.
I am Juliet, from the Capuleto's house.
Everybody's searching for a hero. People need someone to look up to. I never found anyone who fulfilled my needs. A lonely place to be, and so I learned to depend.
Hi, my name is Silly, just silly, without belonging.
At first I was afraid, I was petrified. Kept thinking I could never live without you by my side. But then I spent so many nights thinking how you did me wrong. And I grew strong, and I learned how to get along.
Well, I don't even have a name. They call me Wife of Black.
Welcome all of you. I am extremely grateful for each of you being here tonight. I want us to talk about the experiences of your lives. I will ask you some questions, but I want to make it clear that there are no right or wrong answers. So please answer them as you wish. So the first question is, how is it to be a woman for you? And how do you wish it would be?
Some time ago, for me, be a woman would be to never be independent, to never have desire. You would always be to serve someone. Be a nanny, be a slave, be a sexual reliever, someone to be beaten. Fortunately, I learned another way to be a woman. I had a big example. Chuck, the amazing woman. She had her own rules, you know. Yeah, she would never stop for any order from any man. She was happy, she was free, she was so alive. That's how a woman should be for me.
Well, for me, being a woman would be to say whatever I want. And I'll tell you what, that's exactly how I do it. I speak my mind. And for that, I already apologize. Moreover, would be to get married as many times as I wish, and as many times as God allows me to do it. You know, it's also to use my pussy. Oh, sorry, can I say that? Yeah, okay. It's also to use my pussy to serve my husband as many times as he serves me too. You know, but that's according to Paul, the apostle, of course.
Oh, being a woman for me was always something revolutionary. We used to have rights and voices just like everybody else. Nowadays, we are nothing more than government possessions, meant to abide by the rules from the Bible. The USA now has new rules and new rights. The country's power has been taken by conservative people, and now everything and everyone who does not abide by the rules and be considered trash. They are killed and thrown away. Anyways, you are uterus and legs. This is how. Rolling receptacles, walking goblets.
For me, on the other hand, to be a woman is to follow your heart, is to be able to risk it all, to do everything and anything in love's name. Also, is to be pure, romantic and innocent. I was the perfect daughter who used to obey the rules that my parents would impose, at least until I fell in love, when I confronted everything my parents stood for.
Are you or have you been married? What is marriage to you?
My marriage was a living hell, a prison, a slavery time. My husband made me take care of his children, do farm work, clean the house, cook every meal, and if it wasn't enough, I still had to keep him satisfied in bed whenever he wanted. None of those disgusting nights I felt any pleasure. In fact, he not even looked at me when he was doing it. But don't think he would give me any attention. He knew how to look at me when he was angry. He loved to keep seeing the color purple on my skin.
Oh, I've been married 5 times already. You know, it was for this purpose that God made women and men, right? Rise and multiply, they say. Well, my husbands were all good people in their ways. They all had their qualities. But you know, not all the bowls in the nobleman's house are made of gold. Some of them are made of wood, but still, they are not useless. Out of my 5 husbands, 2 of them were bad to me, really bad. But I learned how to deal with them. My mother taught me good.
How? While the wife of Beth used the Bible as an excuse to do whatever she wanted, the people around me used the Bible to force me to do whatever they wanted. I was demanded to serve sexuality to a family because of these rules. But answering to your question, yes, I once was married. But marriage was something forbidden by church. My partner was already married when we met. Even though we had a happy life for some time. We had a child, a little girl. My hopes to see her again are what keeps me alive. For my husband, I don't know what happened to him. We got straight from each other when we were trying to run away. All I remember were gunshot sounds.
I am married. I married the love of my life. He was the fiercest enemy of my family. That's why we got married without anyone knowing. I was already engaged to another man when I got married to my Romeo. But I never loved my fiancé. Even so, my parents wanted me to marry him. They said that all the girls from my age were getting married. But I knew it wasn't for love, but to do what their parents wanted. My marriage with Romeo is everything to me. Without him, I have no reason to live.
It was clear that each of you had really different relationships with your families. I would like to hear more about that, if you don't mind telling. So, what is family to you?
Right, family. It's an interesting topic. I remember that I had a family when my mama was still alive. When she died, my young brothers started to become mini versions of the man I once saw as my dad. Me and my sister were the only girls, and to protect her, I became my stepfather's sexual toy. From that day until now, my family is me and my sister.
It's hard to talk about my family. I love them so much, but it's been such a long time I hear from them. I don't even know if they are alive. But I keep moving. I have hope to meet them again someday. I won't lose hope.
What about properties? Do you think women should have their own properties, their own money?
Before the power was taken and your life is turned upside down, we are the people who weren't on the news. We lived on the blank spaces on the border of the white papers. This used to give us freedom. We live in the spaces between the subjects. All the women used to vote. We had voice, we had jobs, we used to live nicely, at home with your partners. We had everything, and we didn't know. Sex, sexuality, virginity. All that wasn't taboo. Being fertile wasn't on the top news. It's because I'm fertile that I live in this hell. Nowadays, freedom is a just relic that remains on the past.
For sure, a smart woman lets men think that they have the power, when they are only fools dominated by their wives. Me, for example, got married 5 times and inherited everything that 3 of my husbands possessed. The 4th one, thanks to me, he got married, anger and jealousy. Oh. The 5th, the only one who I married for love, and to whom I gave all my possessions. He used to beat me. He even got me deaf of an ear. But you know what? I paid back. I got my revenge by punching him right on the face. Personally, after that, we never fought again. Surprisingly, right? You know, we women must be brave. We must climb our bodies for our own. But don't get me wrong. I'm not saying we are supposed to remain virgins or unmarried. No. And for those who think that this is the answer, I want you to know that I respect that. You can remain pure in body and soul. You can. Me, on the other hand, wants to enjoy everything my husband can offer me in bed. You know, we should serve our husbands in bed, but we should climb our pleasure too. You know, they should serve us as much as we serve them. And this, ladies, is the key to make a man do whatever you want. And the same works for society.
Well, nowadays I have power over my life, my desires, my money. I finally work for my own needs. But it wasn't always like this. Some time ago I didn't even have a coin. Not even a cow which was given to my ex-husband so that he could take me as his wife was mine. Now I do whatever I want, whenever I want, cook whatever I want, and I could not wish for a better life.
My parents always gave me everything. I never had the need to do anything of my own. When I got married, all my possessions were given away to my husband, or at least they were supposed to be. In my mind, women never had the right to have something of their own. Everything belonged either to their parents or their husbands. As for social opinion, we couldn't say anything about anything because we didn't have the right for an opinion. I couldn't say or do anything when my Romy was banished for our hometown. The only thing I could do was to forge my own death to see him again later.
And my life is still trying to get up that great big hill of hope for a destination. I realized quickly when I knew I should that the world was made up of this brotherhood of man, or whatever that means.
I have learned so much with their stories. With my job, my money, my home, my freedom, sometimes forget that women did not used to have rights, and even now there are so many of them who don't. Those women are still treated as properties by their parents, husbands, and politicians. Women who are perceived as baby-making machines and homemakers. Some still suffer with husbands who tell them they are not worthy and capable. Some are still used as angel relief like Celie. During the history of humanity, we can see how men have always been in power of everything: intellectual, political, professional, and social space. Men have always had more visibility and have always wanted to make rules about how women should or shouldn't behave, and how people, including women themselves, should think about women's behavior. However, there were and there will always be women who do not accept being treated the way they are, as the wife of Bear, for example, that didn't accept positions for men in her timeline and fought in her way to have her own things and to be heard by them. Nowadays, she would be a powerful feminist. The same thing we could say about the kind and sweet Juliet, who disobeyed her father to marry the man she loved. Even so, don't you think that the women of the following centuries didn't have to fight for their rights and place in society? We kept on fighting, otherwise they would have taken everything away from us again, just as they did to June, Amanda, Alfred, and to all of the women. Chastity, submission, and slavery of women are right in front of our eyes once again. Issues they thought we have left behind. Search for women who are innocent, pure, naive, and family-oriented are again a priority. They are looking for home angels. Therefore, we need to keep on fighting for our rights, for those rights we already have and for more. Also, fighting so hard that all women are to have access to them. In this way, women will be able to have their own money, their own homes, and their own jobs. Let's keep on fighting, so that one day these dreams can come true.
Happiness hit her like a train on a track, coming towards her.
So don't